Today I'll be giving you an example walkthrough of what practice should look like for a 9-year-old student who's been learning piano for a couple of years now and is what we would call a level 3. They're in their 3rd piano book or so. In my last video I went through a beginner student at age 5, so if you want that or if that's more applicable to you, you can find that linked here. With our 9-year-old student, the first step of our practice session is still the same. It is always the same, no matter what age you are. If you're taking lessons, the first thing you should do in your practice, or the first thing you should ask your child to do, is to read their teacher's notes. When you're taking lessons, that's part of what you're getting from your teacher, are those weekly notes, because it tells you how to practice, or what to practice, or what to watch out for. So no matter what way you get them, make sure you're reading those first. In our studio, we use an app called Tonara at the moment. So I have it open with my student account here, and we have our full list of everything we should do. The first thing on our list is Breath of 5, and this is a simple warm-up routine for which we just follow along with a video. So we're going to sit at the piano and follow the video. 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so that's Breath of 5 done. We're just doing a posture warm-up and slowing down our breath to start practice on a really calm note there. The next thing on my list here is warm-up pieces. This is something I start to introduce to students when they're sort of part of the way through level 2 usually. It depends on the student. So this student has some warm-up pieces, meaning pieces that they already know that they can go back over as a way to warm up their hands. So these are their favorite pieces that they want to play again and again and again. And so we keep them to warm up at the beginning of practice. So as an example, this student might have this piece right here. The whole thing, but they would go through the whole thing. That's Shadows at Dusk. That's actually from all the way back at the start of level 2. But if a student loves a piece, they can keep it for as long as they want on that list. It just should be something that they've memorized so that they can play it at the drop of the hat. So the next thing on our list is our scales, and this is a challenge that goes along with a backing track. So it starts on F major and goes all the way to B major. So we can try this with the track. Go through the whole way through the sequence that we have there. I'd highly encourage you to encourage your child that if they have backing tracks to go along with their scales, use them. They make it more fun for most students, but even if they are a little bit challenging, that's on purpose. It does make it more effective because they have to stay in time. They have to come up with the next scale on time. So when students use these, they know their scales really, really well. So our fingers are fully warm and ready to go. And next we would work on our pieces. So we've got 2 pieces here. One is from each of these books. Let's start with Dolphins, which is in SeaWorld, which is by June Armstrong. So in this one, our teacher has written a note that we need to count while we play because we're having trouble with the rhythm. So following the teacher's directions, we would do 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Not the correct way to count it, by the way, but a little trick that sometimes works for students who are struggling with 12/8. They've asked us to count along while playing it, and we would follow any other directions they say. But just as an example, a lot of students would do that, and they do it from start to finish, and then they would call it a day. And that is not enough at this level. So maybe they want to play through the whole thing one time, and that's fine. But the rest of their time should be spent on different sections and different bits of the piece. Unless they're like in the final stages of knowing a piece and they're preparing it for performance or something like that, then they might just be running through the whole thing multiple times. But most of the time, practice should sound a lot choppier than that. It should sound something like this. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. No. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. No. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, I got it that time. And again. So do you see how much I'm going back and forth there? That's what it should sound like. You shouldn't let mistakes lie. You shouldn't be playing from the start to the finish no matter what. And that's also not the beginning of the piece I was looking at there, although it is the same as the beginning in this case. But we're starting somewhere in the middle. We're working on the bit that we know we got wrong last time. So an example of practice with this piece would be counting along with it like we were asked to, doing little bits and pieces. And then we would mix in some of our other piece before going back to it. This is really important, especially at this stage. Students should be starting to introduce this kind of interleaved practice if they haven't done it before. So our other piece is Somber Procession. And in this one, we were told to work on 2 bars at a time. So that would look like this. That's 2 bars. Now, chances are I wouldn't play it that well on the first try if that's what I was told to work on with it. So, if a student is self-aware enough, they're going to realize that the rhythm is a problem there. So maybe they need to count or say the rhythm in some way. 1, 2, and 3, and 4. Or maybe they need to turn on a metronome. It's different in every case, but they should always be doing something and working on something. And very rarely, again, playing the full piece from start to finish. And if they are working on the full piece, you should hear it multiple times, not one, never just once. That's not enough. So they work on a little bit of that, then they go back to dolphins. Make sure they still got the bit that they were working on. Okay, great, they do. So now they work on a different part. Maybe it's the ending. Nope. So they were getting lost there, so they would need to slow that down. You get the idea. Bits and pieces, back and forth between pieces. So the last thing on our list then is the 2 challenges. I would often mix these in at points of frustration in pieces or save them to the end. Either is a perfectly good option, but if you find that doing multiple repetitions of a piece is making your child really annoyed with it, or it just feels like too much in one go, it's great to jump over to something like these kinds of theory assignments and do those for a minute and then come back to it, but always come back. So the 2 challenges here are called the 60-second challenge and the Minterval challenge. They're from my Vibrant Music teaching site. But we have links here and downloadable versions where they can use it literally on a phone. So if you don't want to do printed flashcards, they can practice them like this. So they would be going through them and saying 2nd, 4th, 3rd, 5th, like that. Now, at the very least, I would like students to go through them like that. I don't really mind whether students time themselves at home, but those who are a bit competitive about it might want to, so that they're really prepared for the lesson and they know they're going to get a really good time there. But if students know their intervals and know their notes, it just means they can read that much more fluently and get to more fun pieces faster, which is really what we all want anyway. So going through flashcards like that, if your teacher is including them, make sure they're done. Piano practice is not just about playing their pieces. That's the main thing I want you to take away. Even when you are playing pieces, they shouldn't really sound like the pieces. They should sound choppy and changey and with bits and pieces and experiments and little things like that. And then other things should be done too. If your child was told to listen to something, make sure they listen to it. If they were told to do flashcards, make sure they do the flashcards every day if possible. Now, a lot of parents will ask me about time. So at this stage, if we have a 9-year-old student who is in Piano Safari 3, so that means they've been learning for say 2 to 3 years-ish, if they're at that stage and they're playing these kinds of pieces, we should be aiming for at least 30 minutes a day. Now, not every child will get to do 30 minutes, so I do want to encourage you that we can still make progress if they're doing less, but 30 minutes is really ideal, and they will move much slower if they're doing, say, 10 minutes a day still at that stage. 10 minutes a day is fine for a 4 to 5-year-old brand new beginner. It's not really adequate for getting through these kinds of pieces, but it is better than nothing. So if that's what you can scrape together, that's fine. This is what an ideal practice session would look like to me. 20 to 30 to 40 minutes, depending on the student and their commitment and their motivation that day. I wouldn't recommend setting a timer. I'm just giving you that rough time estimate as a way for you to say, they say they're done with their practice and it only ever takes 5 minutes. Maybe I need to investigate what's going on in the practice room, because it's probably not really practice if that's what's happening. Does that make sense? They're probably not going back and forth over pieces. They're probably not repeating things. They're probably not doing everything on their list. So I hope that gives you a sense of what practice should look like for a 9-year-old student at this late beginner, early intermediate level.